with your name on it. I know a place in the United States where you can catch a lawsuit in your backyard, right? That's right. Let me repeat myself. I know of a city in the state of Michigan where you can catch a case and a lawsuit, all right? A very, very favorable, pretty much as favorable of a lawsuit. I mean, when you're talking facts, right? When we're talking just straight facts. If you want to catch a lawsuit, right? Not that you'll be sued, right? Which you might be, right? Malicious prosecution, that is a form of, being sued, right? I guess prosecuted, right? You might be prosecuted, but you can have a 7-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure lawsuit just like that. All you got to do is move to the zip code 48184. That's the city of Wayne, Michigan. And I kid you not, guys, I've lived in the city of Wayne, Michigan for barely 2 years now. And I have 10 lawsuits. 10 lawsuits. Right? And it started with just me being in my backyard. It started with me, I was existing with my family in my backyard. I had a bonfire, okay? Now mind you, this is a 3-acre property. All of my neighbors' properties are at least an acre, acre and a half. Every single one of us, right? On both sides of the road, we all have fire pits, right? This is, a very common thing. This is a very normal thing in my neck of the woods, and come to find out, it's actually normal throughout the entire city of Wayne, Michigan. So, anyways, well, I'm just chilling in my backyard one day, having the, I wouldn't say the time of my life, right? Because that would be not really the truth, right? But I was having a good time. I was with my family, which is the time of my life. Anytime I get a chance to spend time with my kids, my wife, yeah, it's a good time. So, but we weren't having like the time of our lives, right? We weren't like partying, and it wasn't 1999, right? I mean, we were just hanging out, having a little barbecue, having a little shindig, a little get together, right? Teaching my kids how to cook marshmallows, or at least trying to, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here's the city of Wayne. Boom, right? They're behind me. Like they spawned, right? Like you're playing Call of Duty and they spawned behind you in the video game, right? Like how the fuck did they get behind you? That's a great question. Did they teleport? No, they just walked through the curtilage into the backyard. And so their own ego, right, took over from there, right? Well, it was all ego, right? Because that's the city of Wayne in a nutshell, is ego. They gotta have their way at all costs, right? So there's no reasoning with these people, is what I'm trying to say. And so these people will break into your house because they got a anonymous call or something, or whatever. But they don't know anything about the Constitution. The city of Wayne doesn't actually teach the Constitution. As a matter of fact, I believe they openly, disteach it, right? Unteach it. I don't know what the exact verbiage would be, but they clearly don't teach the Constitution. It's not trained. And I've dealt with, at this point, guys, 50, 60, probably, 30 at least, 40 for sure. I mean, I've dealt with dozens of city officials, right? Police officers, fire. No, I mean, I've dealt with probably 30 just police and fire alone. And then, you get the court, the DPW. I mean, you're talking, the council, everybody, right? All the department heads. And what I've learned in my zip code, 48184, city of Wayne, Michigan, is that they have no concept. They don't have any concept whatsoever of the Constitution, of constitutional rights, constitutional law, right? They have Zero concept of it. And you know what that means, right? That means lawsuits, guys. So if you're looking for a place to move to where, the powers that be don't understand the Constitution, they don't want to understand it. It's just it's a huge inconvenience for them. And they're not willing to change their ways. They're not willing to say, hey, we could have done this better. We should change this policy, procedure, protocol, whatever. We should get rid of this ordinance or clarify this or clarify that. There's none of that, right? There's absolutely none of that. And as a matter of fact, these people will double down and triple down and quadruple down and 5x down and 10x and 20x and 30x. I mean, they don't know when to quit, right? The city of Wayne, Michigan just flat out just doesn't know when to quit. They don't know when they're losing the argument, right? They don't realize they've already lost the argument with me. And instead they're, like I said, instead of just admitting that you were wrong, doing the right thing, and, coming to a reasonable agreement, they're incapable of doing that. So the reason I relay this information to you is because, if you're looking, to make money and you're willing to, I guess, if you're willing to document, right, the violation of your rights, and you're willing to go through the cost of of that, right? Like, just basically, here's what I'm saying. Come to Wayne, Michigan, and just express yourself within the confines of the law, right? Just exercise your constitutional rights in Wayne, Michigan, and then find out what happens, right? Just find out what happens. Well, I can tell you what happens. It's one word, 2 syllables, lawsuit. So, most people, right, unfortunately, they get their rights violated and they cower. They, kind of go like this and, yes, sir, no, sir. How would you like it? 2 hands twisted, right? They bend the knee, right? They toe the line, they bend the knee, and that's most people, right? And that's, I guess probably why the city of Wayne does what they do, is because they've never really been challenged. Not really. They've had, like, what was it, the nightclub lawsuit. They've had a couple, right? Abraham Hughes. The only one that really got him, the only one that really bit him in the ass, but this opened the floodgate, the Mark Blackwell case. The Mark Blackwell versus Lisa Nocerini 2022 case. That really, just beautifully showed the world what the city of Wayne is all about. And what they're about is constitutional rights violations. That's what they're about. And that's what the Blackwell case really showed, not just from individual actors, but a collective effort, a collective system, right, of people openly willing, to conspire together to violate another human being's rights. So what I'm saying is, if you want to make money, because you're not allowed to have a business in Wayne, Michigan, especially not a profitable business, especially without council approval, right? So you gotta suck their dicks and lick their clits in order to do what you want to do, right? Which of course you're not going to get to do what you want to do, like from a business standpoint, as it currently sits. So as it currently sits, I can't think of any single profitable business in the city of Wayne, Michigan. Not really. And if it is profitable, it's not nearly as profitable as it can be, because the city of Wayne, it's just kind of like a cancer, right? The department heads and everything they touch just gets cancer. So surprised I haven't gotten it yet, but we got good genes, so we're gonna keep exercising and taking care of ourselves, and hopefully we'll weather the storm, right? But basically, guys, if you want to make money, come to Wayne, Michigan, exercise your rights, and just sit back and wait, because the city of Wayne surely will violate your rights. Just ask Anthony Miller, ask DeVincent McFarland, myself, Mark Blackwell, he probably won't tell you the truth anymore, because like I said, he got his little settlement because he was just all about the money, which is fine, right? But I mean, I can't imagine he got a settlement that was large enough to sell your soul, right? But you know, everyone can be bought, right, so to speak. And I guess Mark Blackwell, he can be bought cheaply. So he got his wish, though. He got Lisa Nocerini out of town, and that, of course, didn't change anything at all. And as a matter of fact, things have only gotten much worse. So, like I said, these people are toddlers, and they refuse to acknowledge that the Constitution exists. They refuse to acknowledge a lot of things, right? And so take advantage of that, right? If you're looking for a place to audit, right? If you're looking for a place to exercise or stress test your rights, come to Wayne, Michigan, because you will have, I'm not going to say you're going to have the time of your life, because you're not really allowed to have fun in Wayne, just like you're not really allowed to have a business in Wayne. Certainly not a profitable one, right? I mean, certainly. It's kind of like it's a catch-22 scenario, right? It's kind of like you're allowed, like I'm a disabled veteran, I'm allowed to buy a house in Wayne and technically get my disabled veteran tax exemption, right? I'm allowed to do that, right, on paper, right? But then, of course, if you actually do it, then, you know, they might try to take it away from you. They might, you know, but like I said, I've never seen anything like this, guys. I've never seen a city that just attracts lawsuits like the city of Wayne does. I mean, really, truly. And it's, I mean, I understand why people haven't filed lawsuits, you know, because, you know, it's hard as a pro se, right? You're at a huge disadvantage in some regards, not all regards, but in some regards you are. And of course, you know, lawyers are by their own very nature parasitical. I mean, it's a parasitical profession. It's like real estate agents, right? I mean, it's parasitism. And so, unfortunately, you know, you get vultures and you get parasites that, you know, want to profit, right? And they have a number in their, you know, this is lawyers, right? They got a number in their brain of how much a case is worth, how much money they want to get for dealing with you, right? And if it's just not in the budget, well, then sorry, can't help you, you know. But you can be pro se, and you know, there's a lot of great tools out there to help you nowadays, to help equalize and level the playing field a bit, at least from the motion side of things. And but beyond all that shit, guys, the reason that people historically have not went after the city of Wayne after they violate their rights is because of the retaliatory nature of the city of Wayne. The city of Wayne's a really dirty ass city, and it's a really corrupt city, and you know, it's a good old boys club, right? And so they come after people heavily, right? I mean, Anthony Hughes, Mark Blackwell, Abraham Hughes, Abraham Hughes, Mark Blackwell, Anthony Miller, DeVincent McFarland, Christopher Sanders, right? And then, of course, dozens, if not hundreds, of other people. Thousands, perhaps. Maybe not that many, but hundreds for sure. Thousands, yeah. I mean, I have lifelong residents of Wayne, Michigan, in writing, stating that the city of Wayne has been corrupt. I mean, they said since 1966, the police department has been violating people's civil rights and getting away with it. Right? The city of Wayne's gotten away with a lot of things. But they underestimated who they were dealing with, and they decided that, you know, they were going to try to run me dry, right? Oh, yeah, he'll hire some lawyer, and then we'll have his lawyer do whatever we want, because, you know, city of Wayne's some dirty motherfuckers, dude. They really are. But they got caught. They got caught with their pants down, and their dick's about this big collectively, and that's rock hard too. That's not soft. That's not some chub, right? No, that's a rock hard stiffy, right? And that's all they're working with, right? So it's all bark, no bite. When you really, you know, pull off the mask, right? And you really actually see them for what they are. It's amusing. It's amusing. It's kind of cute, but it's not, because, you know, these really shitty human beings, right? All these City of Wayne department heads, their incompetence and their inactions and their deliberate indifference, right? It has severe consequences on people's lives. It has severe consequences on people's lives. And, that's, I know I rip on them and, talk shit and all that, and that's all fun and games, whatever. But this is a very serious matter, when people feel priorly restrained, when people feel like their speech has been chilled, when they feel like they're being retaliated against, and their voice is not only not being heard, but it's being demonized, right, and weaponized against them. I mean, that's some pretty vindictive and sinister shit, and so we hope and we pray every day that some way, somehow, the universe is going to right these wrongs, and justice will be served. Like justice was served, at the 35th District Court, and somewhat served, right? Mostly served, right? Certainly, more than what the City of Wayne wanted, I'll tell you that. I mean, I ain't never seen a human being like Michael Bosnick so red in his life. I mean, Michael Bosnick, that's the City of Wayne city attorney. They're garbage attorneys. I mean, like I said, it's a perfect storm, right? You have deliberately indifferent police officers, right? Police force, the police department. You have a deliberately indifferent fire department, right? You have just the most corrupt department heads, the most corrupt council you're ever going to see, right? The most incompetent city manager, Diane Webb. And, just the most dog shit attorneys I've ever seen in my life. Michael Bosnick and Carolyn Miller. So like I said, it's a recipe for lawsuit city, right? That's why we're going to rename the City of Wayne Lawsuit City, right? City of Lawsuits, right? Because that's really what it is. And I've displayed that, and I've shown that to the world. Like, don't get me wrong, I had to suffer over 90 days in jail, months of house arrest, punitive bond conditions, gag orders, the whole 9 yards, right? For these, what were simple 90-day ordinance violations, right? But the City of Wayne, of course, they wanted blood, right? So gag order, they wanted all that shit, right? Because they believe, they have this false idea that they have immunity from public scrutiny, right? That's what the City of Wayne has displayed by their actions, is that, they don't have to follow the law, right? Obviously. But not only that, but they don't have to follow, they don't have to be scrutinized, right? That they're above scrutiny, and that they can, put gag orders on people, and, disconnect the phone lines, and, bar people off of social media, city pages, right? Moderate content, moderate speech, right? They truly believe that they have a right to do that, which of course they don't at all. They have zero right to do that. And, so I just want you guys to remember, the City of Wayne, Michigan. Like, if you're an auditor, if you're somebody who, wants to find lawsuits, right? You want to find controversy, you want to find corruption, you want to find hypocrisy, you want to find double standards, you want to find no standards at all, you want to find, deplorable pieces of shit that are all ego and no brain. And see, they don't care. They don't give a shit about Wayne taxpayers. They couldn't give a shit less about Wayne taxpayers. They'll gladly use your money to defend their illegal behavior. And then if they lose, right, because, they have endless money. The taxpayer is an endless checkbook, right? And so, they wasted, God, we'll FOIA. We'll figure out how much money it costs Wayne taxpayers, right? We'll figure out how much money this malicious prosecution from May 9th till the end of it, April 30th, right? We'll see exactly 51 weeks, right? We'll see how many tens of thousands of dollars it costs the City of Wayne taxpayers. Probably hundreds of thousands, right? So we'll see. We'll see what. We'll see. We'll see what the deal is. Because, yeah, it's got to be at least at least over 100,000 by now. Probably much more than that. I mean, plus, all the lawsuits that are coming, right? All the embarrassment, right? I mean, imagine having that type of egg on your face, right? Imagine being a worthless nigger like Deputy Finley, Chief Carter III, right? Because there's two other worthless niggers before him, right? They're all worthless niggers. They're DEI hire worthless niggers, right? That's what I call them. I'm not going to apologize. One fucking iota for calling a spade, right? A monkey in a uniform who's got no business even being around children, let alone being chief of police, right? That motherfucker should be in Liberia picking cotton, right? That's what he should be doing. But nope, we're going to make him the chief of police, right? Good idea. Let's make some dumb idiot nigger who doesn't even know what the Fourth Amendment is the chief of police. Well, that's what they did. And then they made a dumb idiot, might as well be nigger, Jeremy Schneider, right? A fucking idiot moron who doesn't know what void for vagueness is. And he doesn't even know what the difference between a policy and an ordinance is, right? Or, well, he does. He really does, but he pretends like he doesn't, right? So I don't know. I mean, that's who's in charge in the city of Wayne, right? Buffoon idiot niggers, right? And then you have, I don't know what the fuck you even call Ryan Strong. Ryan Strong, right? That's, I don't know. I haven't figured out a name for him yet. Down syndrome, retard baby, crack baby. I don't fucking know. Because I was called a crack baby my whole life, but I don't look like that motherfucker. That motherfucker looks like, I don't know, some sort of genetic deformity of some kind, right? And he's a piece of shit human being too. We have all the emails, right? Soliciting. So they don't know what the criteria for mental health petitions are either. Apparently, they don't know the criteria for those either. Caldwell, right? Chad Caldwell and Ryan Strong and Deputy Chief of Police Finley Carter III, right? None of them know anything. So I'm like I said, guys. You guys want a lawsuit? You guys want easy money? Come down to the city of Wayne. Come down to the city of Wayne, right? Because you'll get a lawsuit. You'll have multiple lawsuits. Come to Wayne and just stay for a while. Come move in. I got a spare bedroom in the basement. Come move in. Come stay a couple months, right? Go do some investigative journalism. Go hang out with some people. Go ask some questions, right? Just go talk to the locals, right? Go have a conversation with people. Not these idiot retards, right? These bootlicking cocks, right? Because they're probably dependent on this fraudulent system, right? This made up fire department, made up police department, right? Right. Oh, we respond to 4,000 calls, right? Yeah, I know you do. Probably 100 of them are from me, right? Right, where you had no business being on my property, but you think you own my property or something. I don't know what it is. It's some weird power thing, right? It's some weird ego dynamic where, the fire department, police department, but it's particularly the fire department, right? The fire marshal, which again, why do we need a fire marshal for a village? That's the question, right, to ask. But yeah, I mean, just kind of want to know, just kind of none of it makes any sense, and it's not supposed to, because they don't know what they're doing, right? That's been displayed time and time again. But when you don't know what you're doing and you have a crazy ego, and then you meet somebody who's willing, like, you threatened me with a good time, City of Wayne, and now you're getting your good time, right? Like, that's what I don't understand, right? Like, this is all your guys' fault, 100%, 1,000%. Had you just stayed off of my property like a good old cuck bitches that you are, right? And go did your make-believe cop, right? Your cosplay, right? If you would have go and done your cosplay where you were legally allowed to do it, and not on my property, right? Not on my residential property. But you couldn't resist it. You just couldn't resist it because, you're just, like I said, you're worthless niggers. And that's just the truth of the matter. You're worthless, vile, disgusting niggers. And you finally met your match. You guys, like I said, you guys wanted a good time. Well, I'm going to give you a good time. As long as I'm breathing, as long as I'm fucking in the city, you can suck my fucking dick to the balls, right? And I say that, of course, metaphorically, right? I know you think, you're so pretty that I want to solicit sex from you. No thanks. Happily married, guys. Happily married with children. Have no interest you know, in anything sexual with anybody other than my wife. But yeah, the city of Wayne can suck my 8-inch dick to the balls. All the department heads, all of the bootlickers, all the parasites, all of the bums that profit off of this fake government and these fake systems, right? These fake institutions, right? That are self-serving, right? They don't actually serve a real purpose, right? They don't actually provide a service that people want, right? They have to force you to want their services, right? Oh yeah, we got to break into your house to protect you, even though no one called us out here and there's clearly no emergency, and we're just, you know, we're on camera admitting that we're just there to fuck with you. But yeah, you know, Vince, he's crazy, right? Don't pay attention to those videos you see on YouTube, right? Don't pay any attention to those. Don't pay any attention to those, right? That's propaganda, right? Listen to us. Listen to Donald Quarles, the fake cop, right? The fake cop who's fucking what? How many hundreds of pounds is he? I want to see his. You know what? We need to have a fucking You know what we need to have? We need to have a blood test to be on the fucking panel. If you got, you know, because I'd love to see his fucking cholesterol levels. I'd love to see his cholesterol. Let's pull up that LDL on Donald Quarles. Let's have a fucking. Here, I have a better idea, guys. I figured this shit out, guys. I figured this out. So you guys want to hear something here? Listen to this. So let's have a motherfucking a raffle, right? We'll have a raffle, or we'll have like a bet or something. You know, we'll have some sort of a bet. The over and under on Donald Quarles, right? On when is his heart going to give out? The over and under on that, right? Because yeah, I mean, he's red as a fucking lobster. He's a loudmouth idiot, fake cop, right? Wannabe cop, right? Wannabe cop, right? That's even worse than a cop, which is it's hard to imagine. But you know, someone who's not qualified to be a cop goes into City Hall though with his gun though, right? No one's got an issue with that. Isn't that illegal though, guys? Isn't that, you can't have firearms on city property, right? Concealed, right? You can't do that. Interesting. Brags to everyone. Oh, he carries, right? You know, it would fucking take him an hour to draw his weapon. How fat he is. Fucking worthless fat piece of shit, dude. And you know, it's one thing to be fat and be like athletic or, you know, not lazy, right? Not a bumbling fucking idiot, loudmouth, wannabe cop, right? But yeah, it's a whole thing entirely. It's one thing to be that, but to be what he is, what a disgrace. What a fucking embarrassment, dude. Like I mean, imagine, right? Like that's why nobody shows up, right? That's why you get two people in the crowd, right? That's, you know, and they're paid actors essentially, right? It's just like, man, it is just a fucked system, man. It really is. It really is. It's pathetic, man. You look at all those worthless, pathetic losers, man. They're all fucking just degenerate losers. Loser. That's why they work for the city of Wayne. The city of Wayne. Let me put some air quotes there, because I want to know where the city's at. I must have missed it. I've been here for 2 years. I've driven the whole perimeter. I've driven every street. I've yet to see, where's the city? The city, huh? You know, I see a fucking village. Maybe a village, right? But city, must have missed it. Let me go drive back through again, and let me see if I can find it. But yeah, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, but take advantage of it, guys. Take advantage of it. You know, just come give Wayne a call. Come do some FOIAs. Come ask some questions, right? Demand answers and see what happens, right? You'll get a lawsuit. You know, and honestly, like, I can't imagine it changing anytime soon, guys. I really can't. I can't imagine anything changing anytime soon. But they've kind of already pulled out all the stops at this point. I mean, really, they, you know, outside of killing me, right? Which is, of course, what the Wayne Police Department is just itching to do. I can just see it in their eyes every time they come near me. I'm scared for my life, guys. Legitimately scared for my life. These people have it out for me, and they want to kill me. They want to kill me, and they want to kill my entire family. The City of Wayne Police Department, Chad called. You know, it's really ironic, right? Like, Chad Caldwell, he didn't bring up any mention of the fact that this guy, you know, is like, I have a photograph of him attacking me, punching me in the side of the head, right? Which is something. Oh yeah, by the way, that's something we gotta mention in our complaint, right? So that way we can show really the biased element to it, right? It's like, oh, well, you know, never mind the fact that there was no clinical certificate, and of course there was nothing to speak of, right? Never mind that. And there was no evidence, and you lied and said you personally observed something even though you weren't physically there. So you can't personally observe something if you're not physically there, Laura Starr. So I mean, the whole petition was fraudulent and easily provable. But, and this is a big but, big but, right? Also, given the fact that, you know, Chad Caldwell, you know, he brings up this long history. Well, let's attach some exhibits to that long history. Oh, the long history of you arresting me without an arrest warrant for a supposed bond violation, right? A conditional bond violation, where I was posing no threat to you whatsoever with my back turned, and you decided to take your fucking take your handcuffs and have them in your hand, and then strike me in the side of the head while my back was turned, posing no threat to anybody whatsoever. Of course, no threat to anybody whatsoever, and just, you know, couldn't resist while he's tackling. While one officer has my arm, one has the other behind my back, so completely defenseless too, right? So not only posing no threat with my back turned, but completely defenseless, completely helpless, right? And he waited for that opportunity to, you know, not use his bare fist. No, he had to, you know, use the handcuffs, right? Too, right? He had to use improvised weapon, right? The handcuffs. So I noticed he didn't mention any of that in the emails or in the petition. So I'll make sure to do that for you, cuck bitch, because that's what he is. Chad Caldwell's a deplorable cuck bitch, worthless. He's a redheaded nigger, is what he is. He's a redheaded nigger, right? And he went to some faggot nigger judge, you know, and he rubber stamped it, right, without any legal basis whatsoever, right? Not any medical basis, especially no medical basis, no legal basis. You know, basically, I was guilty of thought crime, right? That's essentially, right? I'm thinking the wrong things. I'm not allowed to believe that the city of Wayne, who maliciously prosecuted me for a year, right, and tried to destroy my background, right, had a disposition, right, a no contest to a municipal ordinance violation, allegedly, right, that somehow was reported as a felony, right, felony assault, right. So yeah, Inkster, Michigan, right. Oh, I'm sure, yeah, that's another nigger infested shithole, right, where they're all niggers down in Inkster, right, which is where the city of Wayne's heading, by the way. The city of Wayne, Inkster's right next door. Inkster's taking over Wayne anyways. So Wayne is becoming the new Inkster, no doubt about it, right? And so it's a sad state of affairs, guys. But, you know, when white people are passive and they just, you know, collectively, I mean, I'm not saying every white person, right? Of course not. But there's a good percentage of white liberal-minded people, right, that have this kind of go along to get along mentality. And unfortunately, you know, bad actors take advantage of that kind nature, right? Bad actors take advantage of white people's kind nature, and that's why we're in the situation we're in, right? You notice, like, this is something that I'm trying to tackle with, guys, if you got a minute. I know we're kind of getting off track, but we're really not. I mean, this, like I said, I've always wondered, you know, how do you guys explain white flight and gentrification, right? Both of those concepts. Like, how do you explain both of those mutually exclusive of each other, right? Like, how do you, as a racist nigger, right? Because that's what, you know, you'll see online, all of these racist niggers, right, will go around, you know, disparaging white people and talking about white flight as like basically as like a pejorative, right? Like, oh, white flight, you know, they fled away and, you know, they get blamed for leaving. So I've just noticed something, right? White people get blamed for leaving a shithole neighborhood, right? So you have a white neighborhood, it's beautiful, it's nice, right? Then the degenerate niggers move in, and then, you know, the neighborhood becomes a nigger-infested shithole, third world country, essentially. And so white people leave peacefully, voluntarily, right? They leave, right? They're like, okay, got to sell the house, got to leave. And then they get vilified, right, for white flight, because they get blamed for white flight because it destroyed Detroit. And, oh, you know, look at Detroit. And, right, and They get blamed for that, right? They get blamed for leaving, right? They're like, okay, the feral niggers moved in, and now they're committing their fucking felonious criminality, and all the nigger bullshit that comes with it, right? And then so not just white people, but any black people with sanity, any brown people with sanity, anybody with sanity says, fuck this, I'm out of here, I'm moving to the suburbs, right? So then they get blamed for white flight, and that's still talked about as like, oh yeah, white people evil, right? Even though they like literally left, right? Even though it was their neighborhood, and then it was taken over by a bunch of bombs, and then they leave peacefully, right? What else are you gonna do? I guess. And then they still get blamed for racism, right? Even though they did what the law allows you to do, which is to leave, right? Freedom of association, right? Well, then now we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing this thing called gentrification, right? Where if there's a nigger-infested shithole that's all boarded up and abandoned because, the niggers have pillaged it dry. There's nothing more for the nigger politicians to pillage and steal money from. And, now, it's just sitting there vacant, right? And then, of course, some white person, right, typically, right, will see it and be like, oh, hey, I can convert this whole nigger-infested shithole into a nice neighborhood or a nice, couple blocks here or whatever. So they buy up all the land, right? And they start making it better. They start improving it, right? Well, then it gentrifies the area because now the area becomes too expensive for the locals, right? Even though they're not locals, because I don't know if you guys know this, the city of Detroit used to be all white, basically, at one point. Up until like, the 40s and 50s, right? So maybe the 60s, right? So after the Rodney King, right, all the riots, right? Right, because we're gonna burn down the city over a worthless nigger who, I mean, we should be partying that the nigger's dead, but no, we're gonna burn down the city. Any excuse niggers can use to cause mayhem and destruction to civilization, they will take it and run with it without second fucking thought. And that's why my ancestors, of course, my ancestors could never even conceived of the concept of allowing a nigger to be in charge of a fucking police department. It's cultural suicide is what it is, right? And that's what I think a lot of people are starting to wrestle with, is the fact that, like, okay, you can get mad at the person for exposing what's going on, or you can get mad at what's going on, right? But it's easier to attack the messenger than it is to, like, actually internalize his message and actually, process it cognitively and do something about it, right? So that's what it boils down to. That's all it boils down to, is the fact that, the city of Wayne is in a cultural crisis. And, I just want to end it. Like, I just want to say, look, guys, I want to put everyone out of their misery, make all these bums unemployable, all these bum department heads, and just turn the city over to Kevin Coleman or anybody who's, gonna do better than what we have now, right? I mean, just take it all, put it in the Westland, dissolve it all. The city of Wayne no longer exists, and problem solved. Problem solved for everybody, right? So I know it's a pipe dream. I know. People love their Wayne, right? It's the quaint little Wayne, right? But no, it's not. It's not, and we all know the reasons why it's not. But you're not allowed to talk about it, guys. You're simply not allowed to discuss it. Right? You're not allowed to discuss, only if you're black, right? Pretty much, or brown sometimes, right? Sometimes if you're brown, they allow you to speak on certain shit, but it's like this, right? Like you turn on a TV, right? And you're in the commercials. It's like it's all Jewish propaganda, and you're like, oh, okay, so basically, if you watched like television and you just watched all the commercials, you would think America is a majority black country, right? Which I guess it is becoming. Well, it's not. It's becoming more a browner country, right? Which, I mean, what's really the difference, guys? It's not compatible cultures, right? It's not compatible cultures. So the Hart-Celler Act is what really destroyed this country. the 1960s. Lyndon B. Johnson, right? Our good old boy, Lyndon B. Johnson, right? Who was a sexual predator who used to golf on the White House lawn with his dick hanging out, right? And that's your guy. That's Democrat, of course. Democrat, yeah. Woohoo, yeah, Democrat. Lyndon B. Johnson. Well, you can thank Lyndon B. Johnson. You can thank Reagan, too, to a lesser extent, for the destruction of America. Ronald Reagan, right? But it really, Lyndon B. Johnson, right? Because they murdered JFK. The Jews did because, you know, he knew too much. He was doing too much. So, unfortunately, after JFK, that's when this country has become an abomination. Overall, it's an abomination to what it used to be, and so don't think things are going to change anytime soon. Not until we have 50% unemployment, which we kind of already do, if we're being honest, underemployment. But I don't know. Will Americans wake up? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, certainly there are Americans waking up, but the majority, maybe, but I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on it, and I think there's just too much brain rot, too much dope being consumed, right? Too many people with their fucking faces buried in their cell phone, going like this. I mean, I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, as far as like, the city of Wayne's concerned, I would just enjoy the decline, guys. I would just, like I said, if they ever fuck with you, you sue them. This is how your interactions with the city of Wayne should be, right? You should, and this goes for anybody. If the city of Wayne fucks with you, tickets you, cites you, comes on your property, assessor, it doesn't matter. Anyone from the government comes on your property without a warrant, instant lawsuit, instant complaint, right? If you're being cited for something and you can find the same thing openly from public view, not being cited, lawsuit, selective enforcement. So that's how residents need to be with these people. That will change their behavior at some point, right? At some point, yeah, people are going to say, okay, we're broke as fuck. You keep getting more lawsuits. You're not really winning. You're not really doing anything substantial. You're getting your fucking face wiped. Mr. McFarland's wiping his ass with your face, and we're paying for it. And now he's back to having no criminal record whatsoever. And now he got the probation terminated, and now he has a discovery preservation order, and now he's suing us, and now it looks like he's going to get some momentum, and he's going to get some wins. I mean, he might not win everything, but he's definitely gonna give you a good run for your money, right? So that's kind of where we're at with it, and I don't know. Like I said, the optimist in me wants to believe that, yes, these dumb asses will eventually realize, okay, what we're doing is not working. There's really nothing left for us to do outside of kill them, right? Which is, of course, what the City of Wayne Police Department, and the fire department, rather, all the department heads, for that matter. But obviously the police department and the fire department, but the police department is in particular. Yeah, I mean, we've seen what Chad Colwell has done to me on my property. There's pictures and videos of it, right? We have perfect, images of it. Thank God my wife got it on video. iPhone 15 Pro Max, baby. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that needs to be litigated and talked about, right? Not only is this a bullshit petition that's now been debunked by two different doctors, psychiatrists, not a social worker, right? I mean, that's just kind of shows how stupid they are, right? Chad Colwell thinks that a social worker has any sort of diagnostic ability, right? Any serious diagnostic ability. I know technically, right? If that's all you got, that's all you got, but they're not
They're really not considered anything. They're grifters, right? That's what social workers are. Parasites, right? Parasites who, you know, don't actually contribute anything. They don't actually get results. They don't actually fix problems. They're just parasites. They exist. It's a self-serving profession, right? They say, oh, I'm here to serve people. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're there to perpetuate a lie, right? Which is social work, and to justify your job and justify your existence, right? And Laura Starr had only been a social worker for like a year at this point, so I mean that's a really fucked thing to do to somebody, City of Wayne, because I know they pressured her, and they had a conversation, and that's what happened, right? So that's what happened. That's what occurred, and it's wild shit, guys. Wild shit. So I don't know. I mean, what do you do? What do you do besides make beef stew? Well, you at least talk about the issue. You do the right thing, guys. Do the right thing. Come to Wayne, Michigan. Exercise your rights. Audit the fuck out of the City of Wayne. If the City of Wayne fucks with you, City of Wayne does anything negatively against you whatsoever, anything discriminatory, selective, capricious, arbitrary, vague, you fucking file a complaint. And if you need help filing a complaint, get a hold of me. My name's DeVincent McFarland. I don't care what color you are. I've been married to 2 black women previously. I'm married to a mestizo, an indigenous Taino woman, right? Probably got 10 different races in her. My wife, I love her to death. And nigger, the word nigger means person of low moral character. Now, unfortunately, most niggers are black. That's just a statistical fact, but not all niggers are black. Plenty of white niggers, plenty of brown niggers, plenty of yellow, red niggers. But yeah, if you look at, violent crime data, well, the new shit's kind of getting skewed, right? Because anti-racism efforts, right? Because, reporting the truth, and when it negatively impacts certain people, or, if you display the truth and it is inconvenient for certain groups of people, then of course it's racist and we can't have it, and they have to lie. And that's why, like, in prison systems, right, they'll characterize brown people, they'll characterize Mexicans, Latinos, Arabic people as white, right? They'll call people that are clearly not Northern European white, and they'll lump them in as white, so it skews the numbers. So it's not an exact measurement, but it gets you in the ballpark. It gives you a pretty good idea, especially the older stuff. If you go back historically, from like the 60s to the, I would say early to mid 2000s, you really get a clear and undeniable picture of, crime in America and who commits it. And, I'll just put it this way, guys. It's not white people. Let me just put it that way. It's not white people by and large. And it's not East Asian people by and large. It's the, well, you know who. Do I gotta say it again? The niggas. The street niggas, right? The fucking bombs. The parasites. The Detroit hood trash, right? That's who's committing it, right? That's who's fucking committing it. And, fuck your exceptions. Fuck your, oh, I know a tall Chinese person. It's like, yeah, I know. Yao Ming, I know. But that still doesn't change the rule. Oh, I know a black person who's got 5 PhDs. Again, doesn't change the rules. And then, of course, my follow-up question would be, well, PhDs in what? Right? That's the follow-up question. PhDs in what? PhDs in social science? Fake degrees, right? So they can go get fake jobs. Right? Fake pseudoscience, right? Sociology, right? What do they got? A PhD in sociology? Yeah. But hopefully Americans will wake up. Hopefully they will. I mean, I know some Americans will, but not all of them. And what can you do, guys? Other than make sure you have a fucking firearm. That's all I can say. Make sure you have a fucking firearm. Preferably an AR-15 or an AR-10. So that way, first of all, you don't have to do the concealed pistol license bullshit. And more bang for your buck, So, yeah, just stay ready. Stay armed and stay loaded, right? Because it's a scary fucking world out there. When you put a worthless nigger like Finley Carter as the deputy chief of police, right after he loses his qualified immunity in the Mark Blackwell case, you promote him to chief of police, right? Deputy chief of police, right? And then you give him a gun and unfettered discretion and power and the ability to prosecute people and to bring charges and arrest people. You're really just, you're fucking playing with fire there, guys. You want to talk about playing with fire, right? Well, unfortunately, John Zook Jr. had to pay the ultimate price. A veteran, he had to pay the ultimate price for that. So I don't know. Doesn't seem like we've learned our lesson. Doesn't seem like we've learned our lesson in this country. Nope. Not to say that, and I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that black people don't have a right to be in America. By all measures, they do. They were brought over here by Jews on slave boats. So yeah, unfortunately, the Liberia situation didn't work out. And because here's the reason why it didn't work out, guys, because the blacks that were sent over to Liberia to govern and to build that country up, they enslaved the native African population basically as soon as they got over there. So, it's awfully funny. The people that were, bitching and complaining about slavery, right? Because they were the only ones, of course, as they say, right? They had it the worst, right? What did they do when they went over to Liberia? Oh, they enslaved the native Africans. So they don't talk about that, though, because that's an inconvenient truth for you. So yeah, it's fucked, but they have a right to be here. But all these third world immigrants, Venezuelans, Colombians, Latin Americans, Mexicans especially, majority Mexicans, all of these bums from all over the world, the Middle East. No, they don't have absolutely. India, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You gotta go. America's not for you. America's for white men who own property and of those that are of good moral character. The African Americans that were brought over as slaves, they have ownership and stake in this land too. The Native Americans, they have ownership and stake and claim in this land. The Chinese, right? Or was it the Japanese? Railroad, right? San Francisco, right? They have their Japanese, right? They have their claim here. And there's some other groups, right? Those that served in the military and earned their citizenship through legal channels, right? But the children of anchor babies and all that, no, go fuck yourselves and fuck your parents too. I believe that they should just be put to death, right? All of them. If you profit off of fraud, right, which is what that is, right? When you illegally bypass our laws and our legal system, right? You bypass our laws and you make a mockery of our country and hop the border and no, you shouldn't profit from that. And given that you've been here so long and you've probably committed other crimes, every day you're committing a crime when you're here. I think it should be punishable by death. I think that would disincentivize it very quickly. And of course, no sane country would give the children of illegals citizenship. That's absolutely fucking just mentally ill. Let's put it that way. That's mental illness for sure. So, when you're in a country full of mental illness and you're the only one seemingly who's willing to, speak the truth and, say what's really going on, right? I guess that can be viewed as mental illness or something, right? That's how it's framed and that's how it's pictured, right? That's how it's painted, right? But the VA didn't go for it. Pine Rest didn't go for it. And, having a different worldview, a different political worldview is not illegal. It's not a crime. Although I know the city of Wayne would desperately love it to be one. But it's not, and it never will be. Well, never say never. If these demographics don't start changing really soon, Sharia law and all that other nigga bullshit's coming our way. Well, I guess that would be sand nigga bullshit, right? Sand nigga bullshit. But yeah, sand nigga bullshit, whatever you want to call it. Hard R, soft A, however you prefer. Who gives a fuck what you prefer? And yeah, this video I'd like to shout out to Chad Cuckwell, right? Caldwell, right? Chad Caldwell. That's his name. The veteran beater, right? The beater of veterans who doesn't know how to keep his hands to himself. But he's too chicken shit to sign the contract and go to the Hype Center, though. He's too chicken shit for a sanctioned event because he knows he'd get his shit rocked. So that's just the fact of the matter. He would get his shit rocked, and he knows it, and that's why he's too much of a. That's why he's a chicken shit. That's why he's not man enough to go talk to Rob Darwich and sign the contract, and then we can have a sanctioned sporting event, right? Legal, and everybody wins, right? Well, besides him, right? He wouldn't win, but he's scared. Pussy. They're all pussies down there. Like I said, my offer still stands, guys. Fire department, police department, any department head in the city of Wayne. I'll challenge you. Sanctioned event at the Hype Center. Let's do it. Let's do it, pussies. But they're too pussy. They're not going to do it. No, they're devising a way to maliciously prosecute me again. They're devising a way to try to twist my words into some sort of mental health petition narrative, right? That's all they're good at. Of course, must be nice though. Must be nice to get away with that shit. Well, for now that is. But fuck around and find out, guys. I mean, like I said, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to exercise my First Amendment until I'm in the ground. And I'm a comedian, right? What can I say? I'm a comedian and I'm a commentator. I'm a commentary person and I'm a YouTube local celebrity, right? Notorious councilman, aspiring councilman, right? So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to talk about the tough issues, right? Not the good news newspaper. Nah, we're going to talk about the real news, consequential news, the news that actually matters, right? Oh, they planted a tree. One whole tree. Oh, look. Oh. Fucking joke. What a fucking joke. But it's not a joke. It's reality, and it's a sick reality. And only you guys can fix it. Only you guys can fix it. So I've done what I can. I'll continue to do what I can within the confines of the law, of course. But yeah, I'm going to exercise my rights unapologetically. Unequivocally, unapologetically, and without any kind of regard for any department head's feelings whatsoever. Because as far as I'm concerned, they're all committing fraud because none of them are doing any legitimate job, and they're just parasiting and stealing off of you, the taxpayer. So if you want that to stop, and you want a city that you can actually take pride in, right? You can actually take pride in the fact that it's, the real issues are being noticed and being addressed, and we're taking it as seriously as we possibly can. And or you can continue to have the status quo, and your property taxes will continue to go up, and they're going to go up either way because of all these lawsuits. So either way, they're going to go up. But, I would like to change the laws so there's not even the possibility that the city can violate your rights, right? So we'll pass ordinances that make it, a crime for public officials to violate people's rights. So that's the only way you're going to fix it. You got to legislate it into law. which isn't necessarily going to fix it entirely. It's still going to happen, but at least you'll have, people will have more recourse and more avenues to pursue, and there'll be some real justice. People will get put in a cage, right? Wouldn't that be amazing? When they violate your rights, they get to go get put in a cage, right? And eat jail food. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something, guys? If we had local ordinances that just basically said, hey, look, if you maliciously prosecute somebody, we don't even need a court to prove it. Like if we just have, a reasonable, articulable suspicion, right? Or we just have we just have a hunch, right? We just think you did it. That should be all it needs. Because I think we need to err on the side of, people's rights, and if it looks like you violated somebody's rights, then you probably did, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire, guys. So, except in my situation, there was just some smoldering coals, right? There wasn't actually any fire. But typically, right, when you're dealing with the police, if there's smoke, there's fire. Without a fucking doubt. 100%. And what the fuck can I say, guys? What can I say other than I told you so? What can I say? What can I say other than the fact that, I got everything terminated. Got everything terminated, everything vacated. So now the city of Wayne can't even legally say I've been convicted of anything. Because where's the record? Where's the proof of it? There is none. Convicted of what? Oh, he pled no contest to resisting arrest and disorderly conduct. Well, what led up to that? Oh, well, we warrantlessly arrested him because we thought he violated a bond condition that we created, that we made so vague that it would be all encompassing. But don't pay attention to that part of it. Just, just disregard the handcuff marks on his wrist and disregard the strike to the side of the head, the blow to the side of the head from behind. Just disregard that. Just disregard it. Because we sent him to our hospital and they evaluated him, even though you can clearly see in the video both of his pupils are different size, or in the photographs, right? The photographs that they sent from the jail. Yeah, I love how the city of Wayne keeps going in and out because they don't want to record this part. They don't want to record this part where you can see. I'll post the video. Actually, matter of fact, I'll put. Actually, no, that's a great idea. It's a great idea. I'm gonna post those on the bulletin board. But yeah, you can see a photograph of me after I was taken to the police station, right? The dungeon. Both pupils are different sizes. What does that mean, guys? Anyone know? What does it mean when someone has a head blow, right? Head blows to the head, choked and shit. Right? That's all on. We got all that on camera too. What happens when your pupils are different sizes after a head trauma? What do you guys think that's what do you think that's an indicative of? Concussion, traumatic brain injury, in other words. So, and the city of Wayne knows. I've already had several traumatic brain injuries, and they contributed to another one. Oh, but their hospital examined me, right? The same hospital that they hang out all day and everybody knows everybody. Yeah, they evaluated me and said, oh, everything was fine, even though they documented the handcuff marks and all the bruising and all that. So all the marks on my face, right? And then the fact that I guess they must have missed it, right? They just missed the fact that, oh yeah, one pupil's this big, the other one's this big, right? Which is indicative of a fucking concussion, right? My pupils are not two different sizes. That's a common. I mean, it's the number one symptom of a concussion, guys. Right? When your pupils are two different sizes, significantly, oh yeah, that's a bona fide fucking head trauma. So interesting. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, Chad Cuckwell. Chad Cuckwell, yeah. Chad Cuckwell, Mark Blackwell, and Chad Cuckwell. Yeah, concussion, confusion. No, it's called being concussed. Look it up. After a head blow and you see someone with two different size pupils, that is a clear indication You don't even need to be a doctor to make that determination. I mean, that's just common fucking knowledge. That's the first thing you look for. That's a sign of head trauma, concussion. In other words, a mild traumatic brain injury. So, yeah. Interesting shit. But, yeah, we're going to make sure we put that in the report, right? As well as, you know, the handcuff marks, right? Because, you know, I don't have any reason to fear for my life when it comes to the city of Wayne, right? That's what they're claiming, right? Oh, yeah, he's crazy. Oh, he thinks he wants to kill us. That's a problem for me. Well, yeah, it should be a problem. It's a problem for me, too, because I'm the one that's actually having to feel it, and so is my family. And, yeah, it's a huge problem for us. It's a huge problem that the city of Wayne broke into my house 5 times and then beat my ass, right, on July 10th, right? Gave me a concussion, put me in the hospital, gave me permanent damage to my fingers from the handcuffs being so tight for so long, right? And then plus all the mental trauma and, you know, anxiety that would cause, right? Yeah, just I can't sleep at night. I have nightmares every night. Every night they wonder why. Oh man, why is he on the edge so much? Well, maybe it's because I don't get any sleep. How can I get some sleep? Right? Every time I have a bonfire, I got to worry about the police breaking into my fucking house. I can't even enjoy what I want to enjoy. I can't even enjoy my property, right? Because every time I have a fucking bonfire, which is every day, 24/7, fuck it, right? It's political protest. It's political protest. I can't even politically protest, but while feeling safe, right? I can't have a cooking fire. I can't have a fire for warmth without worrying about the fucking city of Wayne breaking into my house. Breaking into my motherfucking house. Or, you know, worse, right? Attacking me, which they've done multiple times now. May 19th, Officer James Sermon. Officer of the Year, James Sermon. You know. He assaulted me in front of half a dozen or more cops. Everybody failed to intervene. Nobody did not. Well, besides Elzabadi. Elzabadi, she, you know, I can't stand her, but I'll give her credit. She was the only one that had any fucking sense, which is shocking, but yeah. She was the only one that had any fucking sense to tell that idiot to stop. The rest of them just stood around getting paid on your dime. Getting paid on your dime. Even though it's a crime to fail to intervene. Right? That's like being a prisoner of war. Yeah, essentially. Yeah. I mean, it's like what it was, all that time being in jail and house arrest, it was, you know, for sorcery, for witchcraft, essentially. For wrong think. That was my crime, guys. My crime was thinking the wrong things. Right? Thinking the wrong things. Thinking that I had a right to exercise my First Amendment and to redress and criticize government officials. Right? Thinking that I had the right to do that. Yep. That was what I was guilty of. Right? Which is essentially witchcraft, right? Sorcery. So, yeah, I mean, prisoner of war, yeah, I mean, because this is a war, right? Obviously, this is a war. And, you know, Second Amendment, man. I mean, use it. Cherish it, use it, exercise it. Because all of our other amendments, you can clearly see the 1st, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 8th, the 14th. They're all being eroded. They're all being eroded from us. Right? I mean, I was denied the ability to defend myself. Right? I was denied all discovery, right? Exculpatory discovery, right? Exculpatory material, evidence that would, you know, force the prosecution. But, you know, like I said, they were hell-bent. They didn't, doesn't matter the cost, doesn't matter the damages to me or my family, the damages to the city of Wayne, it doesn't matter, right? Because they were hell-bent. It was pretextual, right? They came into my property without even knocking, saying that I had to comply with some fire marshal's orders, and that was that, right? And I'm going to put the fire out, or they're going to put it out for me, and then they're going to charge me with interference, right? So before I interfered, they were already threatened to charge me with interference, which means that it was a pretextual encounter, right? It was pretextual because they walked straight into the backyard. You know, so the whole thing was pretextual and completely unconstitutional. And any reasonable person would know that. Any reasonable police officer who had any kind of training. I mean, you don't even need training, just, go through a basic 6th grade civics class. And you would know what the Fourth Amendment is. It's a very simple amendment. Thank God, because otherwise it would be abused and ignored and weaponized even more, right? If it wasn't so simple. But luckily it's very simple and very straightforward, and it's been very well studied, and it's been very well ruled on over the years, over the decades, over the millennium. So that's the only, good thing about this, right? The only good thing about this is the fact that the city of Wayne was so fucking stupid and sloppy in their prosecution and their, thank God they passed ordinance 2025-02 when they did, especially. That's great. That's a fucking fantastic, amazing, truly revolutionary. It's a truly revolutionary thing. So, I don't know, guys. I don't know, but I do know I got to get into the store here. I've been talking for a while. I appreciate you guys tuning in, including all you bitch-ass cops, because I know there's some bitch-ass cops watching me. So, keep watching. I'll give you something to look at. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to move this platform to OnlyFans. So if the city of Wayne wants to continue to stalk me, right, to molest me, right, to surveil me, right, without a warrant, I'm gonna need some money for that. So I'm gonna start OnlyFans. So the city of Wayne has to pay money to watch me, because I'm not gonna let them. Like I said, they want to see a show, they want to see something, they want to hear something, right? Because they got nothing better to do, right, than to harass and stalk and violate my rights. So I don't know. All this surveillance, though, we're gonna have to see if there's a warrant for any of this surveillance, because I haven't seen any, and they're, by their own FOIA, they're showing that a lieutenant works on a Saturday. That's odd. So we'll have to see. And a deputy chief works on a Saturday too. So that tells me that there might be some surveillance going on, warrantless surveillance. But maybe there is a warrant. Maybe someone gave him a warrant. I wouldn't be surprised. They gave him a warrant for that bullshit mental health petition, right? Without any sort of clinical certificate, right? Which isn't necessarily required, but it makes the petition a lot more loose, right? A lot more weak. And when you combine the fact that, Laura Starr lied, said she personally observed me, and she didn't. So that means she lied, and, we can't believe anything she says. So, even though she really doesn't say much anyways, that she can actually prove, there's no proof of any of it, right? So, but you combine the fact of the history with me and Colwell, right, where Colwell violently attacked me without a warrant, without any, there was no threat to him, right? There was no reason for that, right? No reasonable person would do that to a disabled veteran, somebody that uses a cane at times to walk, and, someone who's clearly posing no threat to anybody, that wouldn't be. Normal people don't do that, right? Normal, reasonable people don't do that. And so, that little detail is important. And so, but yeah, it would appear that this might be warrantless searches, right? Warrantless surveillance, right? Which clearly is taking its mental health toll on me, right? Clearly, right? It's clearly taken a toll on me mentally, which it has, very much so. The city of Wayne has severely exacerbated my post-traumatic stress disorder, and they've just traumatized the living fuck out of me and my family. But we're courageous people. We're going to fight on, right? We're going to fight to the bitter end, and my wife and I, and we're not going to allow tyranny, right? Especially not on our own property, So there won't be any more warrantless break-ins, because I'm taking it as a deadly threat to my life, because, you know, I have credible belief, right, based on being assaulted, having fucking, you know, deadly weapons, you know, slammed into the side of my head, being choked, right, being attacked, right, you know, having people say, oh, I just want to come on his property just to piss him off, just to provoke him, right? That I'm taking that as a deadly threat. I'm taking that as an imminent threat on my life. And yeah, there's not going to be any more warrantless break-ins. There's not going to be anybody showing up in my backyard unannounced, just hanging out. Like, no, I'm taking it as a deadly fucking threat, right? Especially if you're from the government. Now, if you're a private citizen, you have no association with the government, you just, you know, maybe you're drunk, maybe you're a kid, whatever, that's obviously, you know, not a imminent danger, right? But these people, based on what they've done to me, yeah, we're, no, absolutely not. There will be no more warrantless break-ins. There will be no more coming on my property without my fucking permission, or without you having a fucking exigent circumstance, or without you having a fucking warrant. So outside of that, right, which of course if you have a warrant, then your job is to, you know, notify the person you have a warrant, let them see the warrant, you know, and let them inspect it and verify it. And then, you know, of course, if you got a warrant, then that's the law, right? But you've never tried to get a warrant that I'm aware of, right? And yeah, you bypass that legal requirement so many fucking times that it tells me that you have a complete and total disregard for the law. Complete and total disregard for the law. And you know, I can't fucking, I got to protect my family. I got to protect those that live in my household and my family and myself, right? I have a right to freedom. I have a right to liberty. I have a right to sanctuary on my own property. I have a right to dominion over my property. I have a right to decide what goes on my property. I have a right to criminally trespass people. I have a right to, you know, which again, everyone in the city of Wayne, department head, you're criminally trespassed. You're trespassed from my house. Do not ever, for a fucking second, I don't care if you're the tax assessor, I don't give a fuck if you're an ordinance officer, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you are with the city of Wayne in any sort of capacity or hired by the city of Wayne, the only legal thing that you can fucking do is use my driveway and knock on my front door. That's called the knock and talk doctrine. And you can wait for a reasonable amount of time, a few moments. And if you don't get a fucking answer and you don't immediately leave, well, now you're criminally trespassing. And now I'm going to take it as a threat against my life, and I'm going to say that you have ill intent because you've already shown, documented, I've already got it well documented, City of Wayne Police and Fire Department, of all your ill will and your malicious nature. And so, no, you're not going to be coming on my property anymore. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're not, well, without a warrant, without exigent circumstances, without probable cause and consent, or probable cause and exigent circumstances, or a warrant, you're not coming on my fucking property anymore. So, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And because I'm going to take it that you're just there to piss me off and provoke me and assault me and attack me and, you know, humiliate me. And no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You're not humiliating me on my property ever the fuck again. Nigger bitches. You nigger bitches can suck my 8-inch dick to the motherfucking ball sack. Each and every one of you. All your ancestors, your, you know, any adult family member, right? Fuck them too. Right? Fuck them all. They can all suck my 8-inch fucking dick to the ball sack. And yeah, it's my property, my rules, my land, and you're not going to be trespassing or invading it anymore, because it will be taken as a deadly threat on my life, and that's just the fact of the matter. So I don't have to allow people to just continuously over and over and over and over and over, right? 2024, 2025, 2026, right? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So you've been warned. Stay the fuck off my property and there won't be no problems. Go stay in your little bungalow, your little fucking 1/10 of an acre shit shack, and leave me the fuck alone. Right? Because I know you guys are all jealous because you guys don't have a property like mine, and, you know, you don't have beautiful children like me. You don't have a beautiful wife like me. You know? And I know it bugs you. I know it irritates you. But oh well, tough tit. You don't like it, too fucking bad. But you can look from the road, from the public easement. You can look all you want, but don't you dare come on my fucking property anymore, any of you, because like I said, I'm taking it as an imminent threat on my life, and you're eminently trying to violate my rights. And no, I'm gonna respond appropriately, accordingly. So there ain't gonna be no more of that bullshit, right? It's lawsuit city time, baby. That's what it is. Lawsuit city, baby. That's where we're going. So buckle up.